Hey friends, it's me, Jessica. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we are going to talk a little bit about our Disney itinerary. So I absolutely love planning things, and I think this planning process has been probably way too fun for me. I have been planning this trip for 2.5 years, I guess. I mean, we started in 2019. We were supposed to go last year in 2020, but then with all the stuff happening, we postponed it to this year. And even though things are still sort of crazy, we're still going. Most of the things we want to do are open. We may have to wear masks inside. I think that's their policy at the moment. Who knows? Things could change, which is fine. And I think we'll still have a really good time. This whole planning process has been crazy because we had a plan, totally like ideal plan set in place, and then all of that just got thrown out the window and started from scratch. And I feel like every week things are changing, and I'm constantly adjusting our expectations and our plans and what we are gonna do or not gonna do, and it's just been kind of wild. So I'll show you how I have managed to kind of keep track of everything, and give you some little tips on planning for your upcoming Disney trip if you're planning on going sometime soon. So in our Disney announcement video, I kind of gave a little bit of the details of our trip, like when we're going, kind of vaguely what our plan is. But today I'm going to go over a little more in depth what we're going to be doing, what we hope to do, what our mindset is going to be going into this, and then give you the tools that I used to help make our trip hopefully really great. So first I want to talk about planning resources. And there are a ton of people that have really great information online about planning your trip to Disney World. And it kind of depends on what type of person you are and what kind of information you're looking for where you go to look for that information. If you prefer to read articles, you might want to go look at various websites. If you want to watch videos, there's a ton of YouTubers that go to Disney every single day and cover all the latest news. And I'm assuming you're on YouTube now, so maybe you like YouTube. You can follow people on Instagram. There are the Disney panelist people on the official Disney website where you can ask questions. There are a ton of resources, so there's absolutely no reason that you should not be able to find the answer that you're looking for, because I'm sure somebody somewhere has covered that information to some degree. So a couple resources that I used were a lot of YouTube videos, actually, because I like to kind of see and get a lay of like what it's going to be like, experiences, what is this going to actually look like, what can I expect when I'm actually there in the park or at a certain event or activity. So I've followed the Disney food blog, All Ears, Tim Tracker. There's a bunch of, those are some of the more popular ones, but then there's some others that I followed as well. And I'll try to leave some of those links down below to their channels, because that's pretty much all they do. That's like their job. That's how they make a living, is by covering Disney World information. A lot of those YouTube channels also have websites that correspond with what they're posting on YouTube, and you can go there to get more information as well. There are tons of resources. If you look on Pinterest and you just search for, like, if you need help deciding what you need to pack for your trip, you can just look Disney packing list, and there are a ton of people that offer free printables or even paid printables, or just a random checklist, so that way you have everything you need for your trip. So start learning as much as you can and just see what you learn. So after you kind of get a handle on what planning a Disney trip is going to entail, you'll actually need to sit down and decide what works best for your family, how much money you're going to spend, how long you're going to go, all those sort of details. And then you want to sit down and start planning. I would highly suggest hiring a travel agent. I'll also leave the link to our travel agent down below. She was great. I know there are a ton of companies, and most Disney travel agents don't charge you anything. They make a commission, I'm assuming. Hire a travel agent. I think it is really one of the best things that we have done, because our travel agent has been able to give us advice and take care of some things that may have otherwise been a little cumbersome or hard for us to figure out, like when we had to reschedule our trip. Our travel agent gave us advice about purchasing insurance, especially right now with all the uncertainty going on in the world. It just seemed like a really smart idea to purchase travel insurance, and that's not something that I've ever really done before. So yeah, when we've changed our minds about things, or things in the world have changed, she's been first to contact to kind of figure out what we need to do and what our next steps are. So hire a travel agent. It is hugely helpful. I will say most travel agents don't like go through and plan every little detail of your trip. So you will need to do some research on your own and plan stuff out. And that's where you can use the spreadsheet that I've made. And I will leave a link to that down below as well. There'll be tons of links down below. Just go check them all out. But I'm going to show you some screenshots as well of our plan, I guess. So I made a spreadsheet of my own. I did a bunch of research, and I never really found one that really fit how my brain works. So if your brain works like mine, then maybe a little bit for you. So yeah, I'm gonna put some screenshots up, and we'll kind of go through this a little bit. I have it here on my phone. I'm not gonna print it off, because who prints things anymore? That's so 2000. So yeah, let's look through this plan to see what we're gonna do when we go to Disney World. So we're going from Sunday to Sunday. We're flying down with my parents. We're using the Magical Express before it disappears into nowhere, and they're not offering that anymore. And we are doing 5 park days, 1 rest day, and then our travel days on either end. We are not going to a park. We'll just be doing stuff around the hotel or going to Disney Springs or something. Just kind of not overdoing it. The plan is to not overdo it too much. I mean, it's Disney, we're going to overdo it, but try to not do it too much. So on Sunday, we have a flight that leaves out of Raleigh pretty early. We should be arriving into Orlando around lunchtime. And because of that, we've packed some snacks, and I will share the link also here where I talk about what my kids are taking in their carry-ons. So that way you can kind of see what we're bringing to kind of help alleviate some of that lunchtime hangriness that we may encounter, since we're arriving around lunchtime and probably won't get checked into our hotel room until a few hours later. Or even get to lunch until a few hours later. Our plan for our arrival day is to probably go to Disney Springs, get some food, walk around a little bit, and then hit up the pool. We're staying at the Disney Beach Club Resort, which has one of the best pools out of all of the Disney resorts. It's Stormalong Bay. There's this huge pirate ship and water slide. It looks awesome. So I'm sure that we will want to spend quite a bit of time there when we are not in the parks. So that's pretty much our first day, is arrive in Orlando, go to Disney Springs, get some food, and go to the pool. And try to get to bed at a reasonable time, because the next morning is when all the fun starts. So Monday is our first park day. We are starting at Magic Kingdom, because you have to start at Magic Kingdom, right? I mean, yeah. We're starting at Magic Kingdom. And what I have done for our schedule is I've kind of broken up the day on our spreadsheet with meals kind of being the dividing points, and then I've also put top 3 at each park. Used to be there were fast passes. That's not a thing anymore, and originally when I made my plan, these were going to be like our fast pass spots, but now there are top 3. So these are the rides or attractions that we are like totally gonna do. Top 3 is kind of at the top of my spreadsheet, so that way we know, and everybody knows, these are the things we're going to do. And they are things that everybody in our group will want to do, because we have younger kids and some kids that don't like roller coasters or thrill rides. Our plans probably won't include most of those things as must-dos or top 3s. These are rides that everybody's going to want to do, and we may not do them first thing when we get in the park, but we're going to prioritize them before we do a lot of other things. So my plan is to get to the park early. As of right now, from what I understand, they usually open the parks about 30 minutes to an hour before the official open of the park, so you can get in, you can take pictures, you can just kind of explore the park a little bit, and then they open the rides and things like that. So we're gonna try to get there as early as possible. So I have noted each park day, what time the park opens, what time we plan to arrive at that park, or at least try to leave our hotel to take the Disney transportation to get to that park. Then we have our top 3, then we have lunch. Now, we're not totally gonna do top 3 just before lunch, but that's sort of the plan. And then we can do other things. But I kind of wanted to split the day up so that way it didn't seem so overwhelming to me, like, oh, we want to do all these things. So I split it into top 3, must-dos, and then if we have time. I've separated those by meals because in my brain that just makes sense. So after lunch, we have our must-dos. And these are not the top 3. The top 3 are the absolutely gonna do. The must-dos are like, everybody has said that they really want to do these things, so we're going to do those things. Kind of a ranking of rides and activities. And then we have dinner, and then after dinner, we have our if we have time. Now, these are not the order in which we're going to do things. I am not a person that is going to write out hour by hour what we're going to do, because I know that things do not always go as planned, right? I mean, you're in Disney, you never know what's going to happen. Something really cool could happen, and you don't want to feel like you're missing out on that like cool surprise thing that's happening because you want to stick to your plan. Also, things don't always work out, like somebody may not feel well, or maybe somebody decides, I don't want to ride that, or everybody's hungry and you, instead of going to do a certain ride, you want to go eat. So my whole mentality when making my plan is I want to prioritize what we're going to do, have meal times and meal locations planned out, because we don't want to get hungry and then not know where we're going to go. So I have done a ton of research on dining options in all the parks and everywhere, so that way we know exactly where we can go, where everybody is going to like what's on the menu. Because we could go to a spot and realize, oh, I don't really like what they have here, and then we have to go someplace else, and that's a huge waste of our time. So knowing where you want to eat is a huge time saver. Kind of setting aside, okay, we want to eat maybe a little later to miss sort of that lunchtime rush, so maybe we want to eat like 1:32, and so you just kind of have in your mindset, we're going to stop at this time and go eat lunch. Even if we're having a lot of fun, we want to dedicate sort of this time window to do this specific thing. There are things that have specific times, like if you have a dining reservation, you have to be there at that specific time. There's also shows that you may want to go to that have specific times, parades, fireworks, all of those. You kind of need to know what you cannot change, set those on your calendar, and then kind of work around that. So yeah, that's pretty much our Magic Kingdom day. You'll see on my spreadsheet here, I have 2 different locations for lunch, and one of them is a dining reservation and one of them is a quick service reservation. You may be like, why? That's because we're going with my parents, and they're actually going to go have dinner in Cinderella's castle, because when they were dating, they went and ate in Cinderella's castle, and almost every time they go back to Magic Kingdom, they try to have dinner or lunch or some meal in Cinderella's castle, even though it's changed over the years and it's different than it was back in the 70s. It's like a special memory for them. So they are going to go do that, have their own little special date in Cinderella's castle, which is so sweet. And we're going to stop and just get something quick at a quick service place like Cosmic Rays, because we really just want to do as much as we can at Magic Kingdom Day. And another thing, since we're going with my parents, they're not going to do all the stuff that we do every single day. We'll probably spend the mornings together, and then after lunch they may go back and take a rest in a hotel room. Just because they've done Disney a lot of times and they want to come and do stuff with us, but it gives them an opportunity to do what they want to do and us an opportunity to do what we want to do, and maybe we don't always want to do the same things. So that's sort of the loose plan. They may come back and have dinner with us and see the fireworks, but that's sort of the plan. So the next day is our Epcot day, Tuesday, and I purposely put Epcot as our second day because when we're going, two reasons. One, when we're going, it is kind of Halloween time, and they have the parties in the evening, and they typically do the parties on Tuesdays, Sundays and Tuesdays and Fridays, I think, or generally until they get closer to Halloween, and then I think they do more. So I didn't want to go to Magic Kingdom on Tuesday. I wanted to do something that was going to be a little more low-key, and Epcot does not open until 11. So we're going to be out late at Magic Kingdom on Monday night, so that gives us a time to just have kind of a slow morning in our hotel room. We're going to go downstairs, get a quick breakfast, and then because we are staying at the Disney Beach Club, we can just walk right over to the International Gateway of Epcot, which is super awesome. So our plan for Epcot is really loose. There are only a few rides in Epcot and things that the kids will probably want to do. I remember as a kid going to Epcot and thinking walking around the World Showcase was just the most boring thing ever. So I know the kids probably won't really want to do too much of that, but there's also the Food and Wine Festival happening. So we may see if my parents want to take the kids for a little bit, go back to the hotel, hang out, and Joe and I can like have a little date to walk around World Showcase. We'll see. We haven't really worked those details out yet. Epcot is sort of, we'll see what happens. We want to do some rides, we'll do some rides. We'll see a few countries, but we'll see what happens. And then the next day is our rest day, Wednesday. We are planning on eating breakfast at Cape May Cafe, which is there in our hotel. Typically it's a character meal, but right now it's not. And I kind of actually like that because it's a little bit cheaper, and they bring all the food to the table instead of it being a buffet, which is so much easier when you have 4 kids. You don't want to have to constantly be taking your kids back and forth to the buffet. So we're going to do a little bit of a later breakfast, hanging at the pool again, maybe go to Disney Springs, just relax. And then for dinner, we have a late dinner reservation at Ohana. I really, really wanted to go to Ohana. I think that everybody in our group will love it. So I'm very excited that we got a reservation. It's pretty late. It's 8:30, which is usually when my kids go to bed. But we'll make it work because it's going to be worth it. So we'll be out pretty late that night. Not ideal, but I think we'll have fun. So then Thursday as our next day, we're going to Hollywood Studios, and this is actually the real reason that Joe wants to come to Disney World. It's all the Star Wars stuff. He's a huge Star Wars fan, so we will be spending most of our time in Galaxy's Edge. We are going to try to get up early, get a boarding pass for Rise of the Resistance, and then try to get to the park, when it opens. We technically could walk to Hollywood Studios. There is a path from Disney's Beach Club to walk to Hollywood Studios, but there's also a boat in the Skyliner. So we'll see how we're feeling after our late night at Ohana, if we really want to walk that far. So yeah, our first day at Hollywood Studios, because we're actually spending 2 days at Hollywood Studios, our first day is going to be doing, of course, Star Wars stuff, but then most of the Hollywood Studios stuff. The Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is so hard for me to say, Toy Story Land, the Frozen show, and, just experiencing Hollywood Studios. Joe and I actually went to Hollywood Studios back when we were dating, back when they used to have Star Wars weekends. So yeah, that's kind of a fun thing. That's the only Disney park that we've been to together. We probably won't be doing Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror. We probably won't even go over to that section of the park, realistically. But we'll do most of the other things and spend a ton of time in Galaxy's Edge. My parents are, of course, going to do the morning with us, and then they have lunch at the Hollywood Brown Derby, which I'm so jealous because the food there looks great. That looks like one of the best places to eat in Hollywood Studios, in my opinion, but it's just not ideal for our family to go there with the kids. It just wouldn't be worth the money for us and our time. We want to do more stuff, so we're doing a lot more quick service type places. And then my parents are actually that evening going to eat dinner at the Yachtsman Steakhouse, which is again in our hotel. and is probably one of the best steak places on Disney property. So I am very envious of them going to eat that day. But we're gonna have so much fun, so whatever. So yeah, that is our Hollywood Studios day. Then the next day is Friday. We're going to Animal Kingdom. Gonna get up super early because this park opens super early. Our #1 priority is not Pandora or Flight of Passage. It is actually gonna be the safari because my kids love animals. And I know we're gonna try to do Flight of Passage. I think they'll like that, but I think going to see the animals first thing in the morning is gonna be like top priority. And I know it's really weird, but one thing I really want to do is go see the Bugs Life 4D show. And that's like probably the thing that most people skip because it's kind of but that's literally the only thing I've ever done in Animal Kingdom. When I was in college, some friends and I got park hopper passes and we went and did all 4 parks in one day. And the only thing we did, this was in the late 90s, so Animal Kingdom was very new, and like Flight of Passage wasn't there. It was a very different park then. And so the only thing we did was go see that Bugs Life 4D show because that was supposedly, I guess, one of the coolest things you could do. I don't know. That's what we did. We did rope drop at Animal Kingdom. They had like a performance at the gates with like people on stilts, and that was really cool, and music. And then we rushed to the Tree of Life, did a Bug's Life, and then left. So I don't know. It's weird. That's what I want to do. So yeah, we have lunch reservations at Tusker House, which is the only character dining that we're doing on our trip. And I'm very excited about it. I think the menu looks really cool and fun and different. And there'll be stuff that the kids will like, but also interesting and fun things for the adults. And we'll get to see Mickey Mouse. So I know the kids will absolutely love that. And then we plan on, you know, of course, trying to get on Flight of Passage and seeing some animals. Probably not going to ride Everest because no one in our group really cares for that. Gonna go check out the dinosaur stuff. Yeah. The nice thing about Animal Kingdom is that park does close on the earlier side. I think while we're there, it closes at 7. So we'll, you know, be home and in bed at a reasonable time because I know we'll be very tired at that point. Our final day is Saturday, and that is our second day in Hollywood Studios. And actually, my parents are going to spend their final day in a completely different park. They're going back to Epcot because they want to eat around the world. And I get it. I want to do that too. We are calling Saturday, our Hollywood Studios day, our Star Wars day. We're pretty much going to just hang out in Galaxy's Edge most of the day, do our shopping, try to ride everything again. We have a reservation for Oga's Cantina. We have reservations to build droids. Joe has a reservation to build a lightsaber. So we are just going to camp out and just spend all day doing Star Wars stuff. And that is our last day. And I think it's going to be awesome. The kids are going to love it. Yeah. So that's our last day in the theme parks. And then the next day is Sunday. That's our day we go home. Our flight leaves much later in the afternoon. So we're going to, you know, pack up all our stuff and have them hold it at the front desk. And we're going to go eat lunch at Beaches and Cream, which is the kind of ice cream parlor diner place there in our hotel again. I am so thrilled. Let me just say, I am so thrilled about the hotel we're staying in. I think it offers such a great location, so many great places to eat. The amenities are awesome. And I know we're paying a lot of money to stay there, but I think it is definitely worth it. So if you can stay at the beach club or the yacht club or even the boardwalk or this one on Dolphin, they're all kind of located right there. There are so many places to eat all around there, and you're within walking distance of 2 parks. So I would much rather stay there than at one of the Magic Kingdom resorts. I mean, I don't know. I would stay anywhere really. But so yeah, we're gonna eat lunch at Beaches and Cream. We're gonna get the kitchen sink for the kids, which if you don't know, the kitchen sink is the gigantic bowl of like all the ice creams and all the toppings, and it's crazy. I think the kids will think that is hilarious and awesome, and yeah. So that's our plan for our last little hurrah at Disney World. Then we'll head to the airport and head home. So I am just super excited about this trip. It has been so long in the making. I cannot believe it is only just a few days away. So our whole mentality with this trip is this is going to be our really one big trip to Disney World. And so we're going to say yes. We've budgeted a lot of money for this trip. We've been saving for a long time, and we're going to just try to say yes to as many things as possible. The kids want to buy a crazy snack, sure. Some souvenirs, sure. Within reason, obviously. We're not going to spend thousands of dollars on one thing or whatever, but we're spending a lot of money, and this is going to be our big trip, so we're really excited. The kids are beyond thrilled, and I'm super excited to share it all with you guys. So yeah, thanks so much for watching.